In-Fight Endurance Q&A show 36. Flex is back.
I'm back.
Mate, 2 weeks you've been missing.
I tell you, all this travel, but it's been a fun couple of weeks. So,
Share, where have you been? Jet setting?
Yeah, well, I don't know about jet setting. I've been supporting our guys in Colombo 2 weeks back now.
Yeah.
And this weekend just gone, I was in Amman for the 70.3, the inaugural 70.3 there.
Yeah.
And we had about 12 guys racing, so that was a fun weekend too.
4 more slots to Nice. You'll be going there as well?
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, and I've got another trip coming up soon in April, South Africa, for some idiots racing there.
Some idiots down there, yeah. Nice. Good. Right, this week, you've missed, mate, a new drop of cycling kit. And it is...
I've seen it.
Really, really nice.
I'm going to go and pick mine up in a minute because I'm sure they'll be waiting for me.
Yeah, so it's going to come up on your screen now. Have a look. Come into the gym. Choose your size. Cycle faster. You'll definitely go faster. It's a laser cut, mate. There's no seams. It's incredible. You've also missed the launch of Run Strong, which you can now get as well at innerfight.com/runstrong. Strength program that you can do completely at home. 3 sessions a week, 1 on stability, 1 on posture, 1 on flexibility. And then you progress to the next stage, which includes power. It's pretty cool.
Can I just go straight to that part?
You can go straight to power,
right,
mate. Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, you can. Right, we've got some good questions this week, and I'm glad you're back to help me answer them. We'll get straight into it from at Mark_DXB_IQ, which stands for Iraq. He told me.
Oh, it's not intelligence quotient.
No, it's not.
Okay.
And he asks, biggest changes to make to improve overall swimming? Good question.
Yeah.
When he asked it, he was asking me, as I've seemed to have improved a fair bit in my swim. So my answer, very short and sharp, is consistency in the pool with specific swim coaching to you.
Yeah. And I think with swimming, if you strip away all the nonsense with swimming, there are 2 things that influence how fast you move through the water. One is how much drag you create, and one is how much propulsion you have. And people are so obsessed with propulsion and they're swimming like this in the water. And it's like, if you can fix that, and it's really boring, you'll go a lot faster. So I strip away all the fundamentals, get yourself in a good position in the water, balance, alignment, all of the key stuff, and it's absolutely fundamental. For most people, they need to swim more and more often.
Yeah.
You'll go faster.
That's the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
Getting in the pool 5 times a week.
Yeah, like twice a week. You can maintain on that, but unless you're starting from a very, very, very low level, you will not make progress with 2 swims a week.
Yeah. Good. Right. At
hope that
Kim
helps.
J. Smith, suggested fueling plan for a half marathon. She has got the Dead Sea half marathon coming up, I think 5 weeks now.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, it's a good question. You're working a little bit on it, but people definitely struggle to match it in training. We are pretty stand by our 60 grams an hour rule, really. For a half, depending on your suggested finish time, it's going to be anywhere from, for the faster guys, obviously 130s below, normally more around your 145, your 2 hours, up to 230. And so, yeah, you got to fit in. It's more or less gel every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Drink to thirst. Throw some water at your face through feed stations.
Yeah, don't expect to get a lot in. I think we've covered that before as well.
It.
But I think also practicing that fueling at your race intensity is really key to that, because if you just turn up to a race and expect to be able to stomach 2-3 gels an hour and you've not practiced it, it's not gonna end well.
Yeah, and Kim's at that point now with 5-6 weeks out that we'll start practicing that a little bit more. You don't want to be doing it every weekend because your stomach will just get an absolute battering from it. But as you get closer into a race, you want to start mimicking the same breakfast you're going to have, the dinners you're going to have before, and start to really dial in from that point forward. So that's our suggestions for that.
Yeah.
Next question at Chris Hobaker. Heart rate training versus power to take into consideration athlete fatigue. It's one of those questions that there's a general body to it, but it hasn't got many legs. If you know what I mean by that.
I know exactly what you mean.
From what I understand of this question, I would use a mix of both. However, I would look at athlete fatigue from a resting heart rate point of view in the mornings and heart rate variability. And then I would look at fatigue while exercising through perceived exertion or heart rate zones under certain powers. So one of the sessions I like to set people after a big event is I get them to go out and ride in zone 1, and I look at what their heart rate does while they're holding power zone 1. That's how I would answer to that question. Right?
Yeah, and I suspect this came around as a result of a conversation that Chris had with a guy on Friday evening. And I think they both have their place. I mean, power is a lot more measurable.
It's number one.
But equally, when you train in this part of the world, the variables that we have are way less than you have if you ride in a really hilly part of the world where sort of power-based sessions are a little bit more difficult, and then heart rate becomes way more relevant. But it's the same thing. If you're in zone 2 and your heart rate is absolutely stable, then that's a decent level to ride at. If you have a massive aerobic decoupling in zone 2, then we would come back with power.
Yeah.
And again, I think we had this conversation a little bit either last week or the week before, where a zone is a zone, and a zone 2 could be 30 watt range, and if you're just a little bit uncomfortable at the top end of that, it's okay to back it off a little bit. Yeah.
You're also seeing how much other things affect heart rate training. Like your zone 2 heart rate here in the winter is so different to here in the summer, and it's still zone 2, but you then have to take the knock on speed and slow down there if you're basing your training on heart rate. So I think if people haven't got power, I'm all for using heart rate training, but I tend to use I tend to try and find their threshold number, and then I kind of make it a bit more simple, like we're either above it or we're below it.
Yeah.
Because trying to hit on that exact beat, aside from like maffetone training, that's a very good one to get people to run with. But apart from that, it's difficult because so much affects it.
Yeah, like we would do a lot of sort of as we're honing into race day, we'd do a lot of race level intensity and just above efforts, and I think to do that by heart rate would be really difficult.
And then coming on to racing, I would never suggest for someone to be looking at the heart rate while racing, because it just throws it well out the window as well. Yeah, it's always going to be higher.
Because you're fresher, it runs high, you've got all the blood shunting out of the swim.
Yeah. Maybe a ceiling number to look at. Like if you're seeing 175 for 2 minutes, we need to come back down.
Yeah.
But whereas a power number is like, you can hold that power, so...
It's an absolute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Right, last question, at Noah_Black_. Can you give us a sneak peek of what sessions look like in Run Strong? Essentially, a sneak peek showing you it would show you the exact session. They look like I described at the beginning. They will work on your stability, on your posture, and on your flexibility. They're not long sessions, and that you can get away with using your body weight or like a kettlebell bands. There's about 6 to 8 exercises in each one, and it's all based on a rep scheme, and you have your rest in there as well. And then to see the exercise, you just go on it, and it takes you to a link onto YouTube to have a look at how to do the exercise on there. So it's a very simple program, but it's more to the point of it's going to be effective for you, because it's not like, oh, here's a massive program and it's like overwhelms you with everything. Most people, I would probably think, are going to be like, this isn't enough.
Is that it? Yeah.
But you do that consistently for the first month, which is what the first month's designed for, and I can guarantee you'll be seeing differences. Yeah. We get differences with people here once a week for 1 hour who do it for 6 weeks, and then they come to Track Tuesday and they're like, I feel so much different.
I feel like I'm running on rails, yeah. And I think that's the thing with strength and conditioning, especially if you're doing it at home, is to make it small enough so that you can actually do it and keep doing it. Because I see people who they get all fired up about S&C, and then they do 2 sessions and then they get bored of it, or they just don't have time.
Too sore.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then it's all gone by the by.
Yeah. So that's what it's based for, and there's a flexibility session in there as well that doesn't have to be done once a week. I want you to do that as many times as you can, and you can do the other sessions as part of your warm-up before you go for a run or a bike. So yeah, that would be my more in-depth point of it. We also have a show on it that was out last week. Watch that show as well, me and Marcus did, and you'll get a better idea for that as well.
Good.